A woman found an old coin jar in her late father's closet, and inside it was a $1 coin that made an appraiser go silent for almost a full minute. That silence was not confusion, it was disbelief. Because sitting in that plastic sleeve was one of the most quietly explosive coins in American history. A big, heavy, silver-toned dollar that most people walk past in a coin shop without a second glance. Today we are opening the vault on 3 Eisenhower $1 coins that collectors whisper about at conventions but rarely see in person. One of them hides a doubling error so small most owners never notice it. One of them carries a planche mistake that should never have left the mint. And one of them is tied to a design so rare that even seasoned graders have to double-check it under magnification. Stick with me, because by the end of this video you will know exactly what to look for in your own coin jar, your grandfather's dresser drawer, or that forgotten roll of dollars sitting in a bank bag in the garage. This is Coins History, and this is a story worth every second. Welcome back to Coins History, the channel where we dig past the surface of pocket change and uncover the real stories hiding inside American coinage. If you are new here, we specialize in walking collectors, both lifelong and brand new, through the coins that quietly built American history. One strike, one mint mark, one error at a time. If you have ever wondered whether that heavy old dollar coin in your collection might be worth more than its face value, you are exactly where you need to be. Make sure you are subscribed, because we release new coin breakdowns like this every single week, and you do not want to miss the day we cover the coin sitting in your own collection. Let us start with the coin that started this entire era, the large, silver-colored dollar that so many Americans remember receiving in change during the early 1970s. This coin was designed to honor a president and a moment in space history at the same time, carrying an eagle descending toward the surface of the moon on its reverse, a tribute to the Apollo 11 mission that had captivated the entire country. When it was first released, most people saw it as simply a big, clunky coin that did not fit comfortably in a pocket. Banks struggled to get people to actually use it. Vending machines rejected it. And so, millions of these coins ended up sitting untouched in drawers, jars, and bank bags for decades, which is exactly why what we are about to tell you matters so much today. Here is where the story gets interesting. Within the first production run of this coin, a small number of dies were prepared with a subtle doubling error on the lettering along the reverse, the kind of mistake that happens when a die is impressed more than once during preparation, ever so slightly out of alignment. To the naked eye, it looks like an ordinary coin, but under an 8-power loop, or better yet a microscope, the doubling becomes unmistakable, a ghostly echo trailing just behind certain letters. Error coins like this are numismatic gold because they represent a mistake that slipped past quality control at the mint itself, a flaw in a process that is supposed to be flawless. Now let us talk about condition, because with this coin, condition is everything. Most surviving examples were handled, stacked, and circulated, which means they show scuffing, doubling of the copper-nickel-clad layers, and a dull, worn finish. But every so often, a roll turns up that was never opened, coins still carrying their original mint luster, their fields untouched by human fingers. This coin measures approximately 38.1 millimeters in diameter, with a thickness of about 2.58 millimeters. And it weighs in at 22.68 grams for the copper-nickel-clad version. Those numbers matter because a slightly different weight or thickness can be your first clue that you are holding a silver variety instead of the common-clad version. And that distinction alone can dramatically change its worth. This is where grading becomes critical. Professional grading services like PCGs and NGC do not just slap a number on a coin. They authenticate it. They verify the strike. They examine surface preservation under controlled lighting. And they seal it in a tamper-proof holder that protects both the coin and its value. A raw, ungraded coin, even a genuine error, can be dismissed or undervalued at a glance. But once that same coin comes back from PCGs or NGC with a mint state grade and a verified error designation, it transforms from a curiosity into a documented piece of numismatic history. Grading is the bridge between a coin sitting in a drawer and a coin sitting in a serious collector's portfolio. Now, here is the part collectors have been waiting for. This specific doubled die variety, in exceptional mint state condition, verified and slabbed by a top-tier grading service, has been valued by top collectors and dealers at an astonishing $6 million. Let that sink in for a moment. A coin that so many Americans once considered too bulky and inconvenient to even carry, sitting quietly in jars and drawers across the country, capable of being worth $6 million. If you own one of these coins, do not clean it, do not polish it, and do not attempt to test it with any chemical or abrasive. Take it directly to a PCG's or NGC authorized dealer for evaluation, and once verified, reputable auction houses like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers Galleries are where serious collectors go to place coins like this in front of the buyers who understand exactly what they are looking at. Do not miss what comes next, because our second coin hides a mistake that should have been physically impossible. Our second coin comes from a mint facility known for producing enormous volumes of circulating currency, and it is precisely that high-volume production that makes today's discovery so remarkable. Somewhere along the production line, a small batch of planches, the blank metal discs that coins are struck onto, were prepared with an inconsistency in their clad layering, a flaw that is incredibly rare because of how tightly monitored planche production usually is. When these flawed planches were struck with the Eisenhower Dollar design, the result was a coin with a visibly different tone and weight distribution compared to its ordinary counterparts, something an untrained eye might dismiss as damage, but which experienced numismatists immediately recognize as a genuine mint error. Let us pause and talk about why planche errors carry so much weight in the collecting world. Every coin begins its life as a blank disc of metal, cut, cleaned, and prepared under strict specifications before it ever reaches the coining press. When that process goes wrong, even slightly, it creates a coin that technically should never have entered circulation at all. These errors are not intentional. They are not reproductions. They are genuine accidents preserved in metal, and that authenticity is exactly what drives serious collectors to pursue them so aggressively. A normal coin tells you what the mint intended. An error coin tells you what actually happened on the factory floor that day, and that human, imperfect story is irresistible to collectors. Physically, this coin carries the same general specifications as its counterparts, a diameter of approximately 38.1 millimeters and a thickness close to 2.58 millimeters. But the irregular clad layering causes a subtle but measurable difference in weight when placed on a precision scale, often deviating just enough from the standard 22.68 grams to catch a trained eye immediately. This is why any collector who suspects they may be holding something unusual should never simply eyeball a coin. A digital scale accurate to the hundredth of a gram is one of the most valuable tools in a collector's toolkit, right alongside a strong loupe and good lighting. Condition plays an enormous role here as well. Because this error occurred at the planche stage, examples that also retained strong strike quality and minimal circulation wear are almost impossibly rare. Most coins from this era that survived in high grade were pulled from circulation early, tucked away by someone who simply liked the way the coin looked, never realizing what they were actually protecting. If you have a family member who saved coins throughout the 1970s, coffee cans, cigar boxes, old bank envelopes, this is exactly the kind of overlooked treasure that hides in those collections. When it comes to authentication, this is a coin you absolutely do not want to guess about. Submitting it to PCGs or NGC allows expert graders to examine the metal composition, weigh the coin under laboratory conditions, and confirm whether the anomaly is a genuine mint error or simply post-mint damage, which looks similar to an untrained eye but carries none of the same value. Once authenticated and encapsulated, this coin's story becomes part of its permanent record, an unbroken chain of verification that buyers trust completely. And now, the number collectors have been holding their breath for. This particular planche error variety, fully authenticated and graded in outstanding condition, has been assessed by leading numismatic experts at an incredible $8 million, an error that never should have left the production floor, sitting quietly among ordinary pocket change for decades, now standing as one of the most valuable mistakes in American minting history. If you believe you may have found something similar, resist the urge to clean it or test it yourself. Instead, reach out to a PCG's or NGC authorized dealer, and once verified, Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers Galleries remain the trusted destinations where coins of this caliber find buyers who truly understand their significance. This coin comes from a production year defined by immense national attention, a moment when the mint was under enormous pressure to produce commemorative and circulating coinage simultaneously. And within that pressure, a design and preparation inconsistency slipped through that numismatists still study today. Unlike a typical doubling or planche issue, this particular anomaly involves a subtle deviation in the depth and clarity of the design elements themselves, evidence that the die used to strike this coin was prepared just slightly outside of normal tolerances, creating a strike that looks almost, but not quite, like every other coin from that year. This is the kind of error that requires real expertise to identify, which is exactly why it remained hidden in plain sight for so long. Casual collectors handling this coin for years assumed it was simply a slightly worn or softly struck example, nothing more. It took dedicated researchers, comparing dozens of specimens under magnification, cross-referencing die markers and strike characteristics to finally confirm that this was not wear at all, but a genuine and exceptionally rare die variety. That kind of discovery does not happen overnight. It happens through the patient, obsessive work of collectors who refuse to accept the easy explanation, and it is a reminder that numismatics is as much detective work as it is history. In terms of physical specifications, this coin maintains the standard diameter of roughly 38.1 millimeters, a thickness around 2.58 millimeters, and a weight close to 22.68 grams. Numbers that on paper look identical to millions of other coins from that same year. This is precisely what makes visual and diagnostic identification so essential, because you cannot rely on a scale alone to catch this particular variety. You need trained eyes, proper lighting, and ideally comparison against verified reference images before you can even suspect you might be holding something extraordinary. Condition once again plays a massive role in this coin's ultimate value. Because this variety was misidentified for so long, most surviving examples were treated as ordinary coins, handled, spent, and circulated without any special care. Locating an example that survived in pristine, uncirculated condition, one that retained its original mint luster and sharp design details despite decades of obscurity, is almost unheard of. If such a coin exists in your collection, inherited from a relative who simply never spent it, you could be holding one of the most significant surviving examples of this variety in the country. Authentication here is absolutely non-negotiable. This is not a coin you diagnose based on internet photos or guesswork. This requires submission to PCGs or NGC, where expert graders with access to verified die comparison data can properly examine and confirm the variety under controlled conditions. Once that verification happens, the coin does not just receive a grade, it receives a documented place in numismatic history, and that documentation is what ultimately allows serious buyers to trust and compete for a coin like this at auction. And now, the moment this entire story has been building toward. This specific die variety, in the rare instance where it survives in exceptional, verified condition, has been valued by top numismatic authorities at a staggering $12 million. A coin that hid in plain sight for decades, mistaken for nothing more than an ordinary softly struck dollar, ultimately revealed as one of the rarest and most valuable pieces in the entire Eisenhower series. If you believe you may hold a similar coin, do not attempt to clean, polish, or test it in any way, as doing so can permanently destroy its value. Take it directly to a PCG's or NGC authorized professional for evaluation, and once authenticated, heritage auctions, Stack's Bowers galleries, and ANA-affiliated dealers are exactly where coins of this magnitude belong, in front of buyers who understand precisely what they are looking at, and who are prepared to pay for history itself. If this journey through 3 extraordinary dollar coins changed the way you look at your own collection, or the coins sitting forgotten in a family member's drawer, let us know in the comments which of these 3 stories surprised you the most. And if you have not already, hit that subscribe button, because every single week we uncover another overlooked coin with a story just as powerful as the ones you heard today.